Huzzah! I'm standing! Is that much of a revelation worth its own intro? No. But, you know, I thought I'd give it a go. Stand up, feel healthier, be able to do more of the arm movements, which I'm sure you've been dying to see. Today, I thought it was time to do the Authortube Newbie Tag because I've been talking about a little bit of some of my writing projects, but I figured I might as well just go ahead and take that dive officially into the writing community of YouTube. So I am very excited to do this video. This tag was originally created by Jenna Streety, so you know, all credit for the ingeniousness of these questions goes straight on to her and her channel. Without further ado, we'll just go on straight on into the questions. The first question is, how did you find out about Authortube? I feel like I'm gonna have a lot of similar answers as everyone else. One of the big giants of the Authortube community is definitely Kate Kavanaugh and her cool little writing experiments. So I definitely saw some of hers, though she wasn't my first introduction into Authortube, just the biggest one. The first introduction I had would have been Shaylin Wrights, followed by M. Kieran, and then I've seen a couple of Alexa Dawn's videos here and there, her little advice videos, but Kate Kavanaugh was definitely the biggest, most impactful, most long-standing of those. Question number 2. 2. What genres do you write in? This is a hard one because I feel like I write hybrid genres. It's not quite fantasy, not quite contemporary. It's like realism, but like not too much realism. I think it's a lot easier to say that my books would come out very similar to maybe like a Maggie C. Vaughter book, or rude, or a Rainbow Rowell book, or I don't feel like she's not so popular, but she's definitely one of my favorites, Megan Wallen Turner, fantastic, or maybe April Genevieve Tilchulke. I felt like I just gave you my entire list of authors that I'm super inspired by, which you'll hear again later on in the video. So, you know, I hope you're taking notes. Question number 3, what is your preferred writing tense, point of view, and category of story? I like to write close third person, past tense. That's definitely my comfort zone in terms of writing. I want to say that I will write adult fiction because I'm definitely not as into the literary themes that you see a lot in young adult fiction, but I feel like maybe on rereading my work, a lot of it might have ended up coming out as young adult, since I am technically, but also not technically, still a young adult. It's just my world. Question number 4. Are you a plotter, a pantser, or a plancer? I am a hardcore plotter. That is definitely my mainstream, my mode of operandis. I don't know what Latin conjugation, but it's one of those. 100% plotter. If my writing feels aimless in any sort of way, I get so frustrated and I feel like the story is going nowhere, or I don't have a clear direction of what that scene is supposed to be trying to accomplish. I might as well not even write. It is such a miserable experience, like pulling teeth, like every little word hurts. So definitely I like having an outline, I like having a structure. I definitely like having a roadmap for where the story's going and how this scene fits into that bigger picture. I really want to have a clear understanding of writing at every single level, at the book level, at the chapter level, and at the scene level. And once that is down, I do have a little bit of flexibility. I can throw some pantsed elements in there. Maybe they're in a different location, or maybe there's this new character that comes in and shakes things up a bit. Sometimes those things happen, which I don't see coming, but definitely by and large, I like to have everything structured and a set outline. I don't have to stick to that outline, but I have to come back to it if I veer off. Always just come right back. Question number 5. Are you self-published, published, or yet to be published? What does fan fiction qualify as? All seriousness though, I am yet to be published. I've written a lot of short stories recently as just kind of like a current update of like where I am in my writing projects. I've written a lot of short stories recently. I've got 2 active novel projects going on. I call them Project Fate and Project Sacrifice. Project Fate is never going to be published, ever. So as you in the future see me agonizing over certain scenes and characters, and you're thinking to yourself, why is she doing this? She already said she's never going to publish it. Now you just have a better insight into the insanity that is my brain. But Project Fate I definitely picked up as like a learning project. I've been working on this novel for the past 6 years, which is so crazy. So you can tell like what a wide spectrum of writing that book probably has, since I started it when I was, gosh, 15-ish, or somewhere around 15, and is still working on it now. So it definitely has different levels of writing, but that's one of the reasons why I really value it as a project, because I can definitely see how my writing has evolved throughout it. And Project Fate was my scratch paper for testing out all these new writing techniques that I would learn from reading or different seminars or everything. It was my field of experimentation, so I really value it for that, and it's definitely really precious to me for that. And that is why I still want to complete it, even though I know it's never going to be published, because those beginning years, whew, those were rough. But I've definitely valued, especially later, being able to like look through my writing and be like, wow, like this is actually really good, and it's really improved from here, or this still is a little problem I noticed back here. Maybe I can try and actively work on that now, so when I reread it later on, I can see that there is an improvement. So it's really how I've taught myself writing, since I haven't, up until this point, taken any classes on it. As for Project Sacrifice is still in the incubating, percolating stage, but I hope as I write that one, that will definitely be able to at least be queried for traditional publishing. Question number 6, what publishing company, literary agent, and or printing company are you represented by or used? If you're not yet published, what is your dream publishing house and or literary agent? Ooh, that was a long one. Honestly, even thinking about this question to any level of specificity feels very pretentious for me, because I am so far away from actually approaching any of the practicalities of publishing, so I haven't looked at any publishing companies or literary agents. My main focus right now is just writing a darn good book, a darn good draft, and that's going to take multiple drafts, multiple revisions, multiple peer reviews, so it's just so far out of my mind. I haven't even looked into any of them, nor do I know where I would look for any of them. So if you guys have any like advice or tips, or like how to look into any literary agents or publishing companies, and were able to pick and discern which ones you actually were interested in, which ones you weren't, let me know, because there are 0 ideas here. Question number 7, what Authortube related videos can we expect to find on your channel? Good question. I might make a couple writing vlogs on this channel, maybe here and there, but I don't foresee them being too frequent. I definitely want this channel to be very camaraderie centered. The reason I made this is so I can, get in community with other people who are writing and out here and doing the thing. So a lot of it is going to be not advice centered, but it's not going to be coming from an aspect of like me teaching you. It's just going to come from a relation of me sharing lessons I've learned or struggles that I'm having, so that we can kind of commiserate and trade notes and share and just go along this book writing journey that we are all on together. I have absolutely 0 credentials as far as my writing ability, apart from the fact that I do write, and sometimes semi-frequently, so I don't want to come across as anything other than I am a newbie author tuber. Speaking of credentials, question number 8, when did I start writing? I guess the question would be better phrased as, when was I not writing? I even remember as a kid when I was like playing little Barbies, I wouldn't play with them like, ooh, marry me, Ken. It would be like prose, like I would actually speak exposition. And then Barbie looked into Ken's deep brown eyes and said, oh, my dearest, shan't we marry? Or some foolishness like that. So I was a very annoying kid to play with, I imagine. But with that already being the narrative going on in my head, it was very easy to just translate that to paper, and boom, she was writing. Was she writing well? That's a different story. Question number 9, what was the first story you wrote? We don't talk about that story. Question number 10. You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding. Question number 10. What authors inspired your writing the most? Alright, I hope you were taking notes, because we are revisiting whatever question it was before. I feel like they should have added a limit to this question, because I'm not sure how many I get, but we'll be done when we're done. Maggie Stiefvater, Rainbow Rowell, C.S. Lewis, April Genevieve Tulcholke. I think that's how you say her last name. I have no idea. Leo Bardugo, N.K. Jemison, Megan Wallen Turner, a little bit of Marissa Mayer, a hint of Holly Black, mostly the other ones, but definitely Mindy McGinnis as well. I'm not actually going to count that, but it might have been like 7, 8, 9. Might have been 9. Question number 11. Do you schedule writing sessions or do you just write whenever you get the time? I've been working during the summer to try and really design a writing schedule that works for me, and I've been trying to really be consistent with it. So hopefully I can honestly say right now that I do have a writing schedule. But the little caveat to that whole beautiful picture I just painted is that right now it is summer. Haha. College starts next week. The real test of all of this is going to be whether or not I can actually carry it through into college. I hope so, but if not, then we will definitely resort right back into just writing whenever we have time. Question number 12. Do you type on your computer? Do you use a typewriter? Do you write by hand? Blend of those. And where do you write in general? If anyone answers this question and says that they write on a typewriter, please be my friend. You sound amazing and like super aesthetic. I definitely do a blend. I like to start on my journal and just try and keep the story in my head as long as possible without actually doing any drafting. The work I do in my journal is typically just like character notes, major plot points that I'm thinking of, scenes that I know will have to be in there, scenes that I want to be in there, events, catalysts, all that kind of things, but it's just kept very bare bones, very structural, just what needs to happen when and why. That definitely goes back to my plotter tendencies. I like to keep the story as agile as possible for as long as possible. As soon as I start putting it onto a computer, it starts feeling very finalized and formal, and then it almost hurts a little bit to make changes because it's like, no, it's beautiful. It's becoming a masterpiece. I can see it now. And I can't. Or at least I shouldn't, because chances are 80% that it's crap and it needs to be tweaked a little bit more. So I try to keep it on paper, handwritten for as long as possible without actually, drafting word by word. As soon as I do start drafting, typically I'll start putting it in my computer when the story has become too big to hold in my head, or I've got pages about it in multiple journals and it's just time to condense all that information into one easily accessible file. That is when it definitely shifts to computer, and then I use Scrivener to try and lay out the story, and then I start drafting. Question number 13 is the last question, and it is, what are you most excited about or most looking forward to now that you are a part of Authortube? This, for me, is definitely community, encouragement, commisery. Sometimes when I don't want to write, all it takes is me getting an environment where other people are writing and trying their best and struggling, but still trying their best to get me motivated and inspired to try, even though I don't really feel like it. And Authortube is definitely that environment. So I'm very excited to be a part of it now, and I hope to be able to contribute just as much as I consume from this wonderful platform and all these wonderful YouTube creators. That went pretty fast, and the birds were pretty well behaved. They might be turning over a new leaf. Let's not get carried away, shall we? Either way, I think that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for spending the past couple of minutes with me, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!